Flosstube, it's Lynn, the Canadian Stitcher. I'm here for my weekly update on my cross stitch progress and on the challenge that I'm working on. I have, we'll do the world map again. I had a new start for February 1st and an FO, which is the same thing. I started it and finished it in the same, well, 2 days it took me. I have the weekly Christmas ornament, and I'm going to do a review of the Ottlite and magnifier that I bought, and I have a teeny little haul besides that because that's my entire budget for February used up on the Ottlite, but we'll talk about that. I'm also just gonna do a quick little flip through the kits that I have that are winter scenes, because the winter is hitting us hard right now, as it is in probably a lot of other areas too. So it's cold and it's windy and it's snowy, and my goal when I came home from work on Friday was to park my car in the garage and not leave until Monday morning again. And I only work Monday this week. I took some vacation time because I've got some vacation I need to use up before the end of the vacation year. Plus I just need some time off work. I'm sorry, I'm going to be dabbing up my eyes because I'm having an allergic reaction and my eyes are really swollen and watery, so I'm sorry I'll be doing this, but just bear with me. I only work on Monday, and my plans are to do all my errands on my way home on Monday and then not have to leave the house again. If it's minus 40 degrees out, I don't have to leave again. I can just get my groceries and do all my errands and then just stay inside and stay warm. I'm a real homebody. I like being at home. There are people that have to be on the go all the time, or you gotta go do this and have plans for every minute of the day, and I am not like that. I like coming home on Friday and not leaving my house until Monday again. It's my time. So I give so much of myself when I'm at work that I need some time for myself for self-care, and that's what I enjoy. So working on my hobbies. So one of the things that I'm doing right now, I'm keeping a notebook and I'm putting notes in it when people tell me where they're from, or when I'm watching their channels, I'll take note of if they gave a really good tip or something. I'm trying to take note of what video it was and who it was, so I can share that information with people. So I'm keeping a little notebook, but I'm finding I have bring them up here, and then I have 4 notebooks up here. That's so silly. But I had written in my notebook, I was grumpy. Last week I was grumpy. And I wrote in my notebook, what is great right now? And just thought of something that's great. I'm at home. It is so cold outside and so snowy, and I'm home right now and I'm comfortable. I'm sitting on my couch, and that was the greatest thing right in that moment. When I was driving home on Friday, I don't know if there's a lot of people that get to work from home or have the option of leaving early, but there really wasn't a lot of traffic at 5 o'clock, like the 5 o'clock drive on Friday. But it was kind of treacherous. I did kind of spin out a little bit on my vehicle and almost went to the snowbank, which probably would have been stuck and probably would have had to call a tow truck. So I'm glad I was able to regain control of the vehicle. It just kind of caught a piece of ice or a sheet of ice and just was sending me off the road. But so it was cold. I'm going to keep saying that. As I'm driving home on Friday, I was like, oh, it's so cold. And I hadn't even let my vehicle warm up. I'm wearing a warm scarf. I'm wearing a warm coat. I've got my boots on, everything. And I saw a couple standing at the bus stop waiting for the bus, and immediately I just, oh, those poor people have to stand there and wait for the bus. But what they were doing, it was a couple, it was a man and a woman, and they had their cheeks pressed together. So they were standing really close together with their cheeks pressed together, and he had gloves on his hands, and he was using his gloved hands to protect her ears. So they were all like snuggling really cozy as they're standing out there waiting for the bus, and it was so sweet to see that. It's one of those moments in your life where you just want to have a camera that you can grab a picture of that so you can always remember it. But I think I always will. That was just so touching to me that he was protecting her ears from the cold with his gloves while they're waiting. So let's do the world map, because I had a few more people give me some more information of where they are in the world. So there's my map. And people have been asking me. I'm the little red one. Right up there, and just north of Edmonton. I live in a little city called St. Albert, which is north of Edmonton, Alberta. Sorry for that. So we've got Susan P. in Lansdowne, Tasmania, Australia. I kicked Lucy out today, so he doesn't bug me, but he's picking up the door. We'll see how this goes. I've got Rose B in Germany, Christine L in St. Louis, Missouri, Cindy G in Annapolis Valley, Nova Scotia, Canada, Nancy H in Ecuador, and she said it's the smallest country in South America. And I had to ask her a question about the length of the day and nights, whether they're the same at the equator, because we have such a big shift in our hours of daylight versus our hours of darkness between, you know, summer and winter. And she said it varies very slightly. But then I also had to ask her which way the toilets flush. And then once I said it, I thought maybe somebody was pulling my leg, that the toilets flush in the opposite direction from us. Our toilets flush in clockwise, I think, and in the southern hemisphere they flush the opposite way. So I asked her if they go straight down when you're close to the equator. Do they just... Anyway, I felt kind of foolish after, if that was a prank that somebody was playing on me. You got me. Okay. And then Stitching by Lantern Light in Saskatchewan Valley in Pennsylvania, and Sue L in Eagle Mountain, Utah. And we had such a banter going back and forth. She was almost looking for permission to be able to stitch however she wants, and I was like, you can stitch however, whatever works for you. I mean, there's lots of people who do the same thing, but it's because they found a way that works best for them. I do things a little bit different than other people, but because that's what works for me. So it doesn't matter, as long as your crosses are all going in the same, your bottom stitches are all going in the same direction, and all your top stitches are going in the same direction, and you're not running big huge black threads underneath white or something like that, there aren't really hard and fast rules that you have to follow. I had somebody tell me never to wash a piece. I was like, why wouldn't you wash them? Like, if I work on a project for a year or 2 years, it's going to need to be washed, even if I keep my hands very clean. I don't like those never do kind of rules. We need to be more gentle about it. Just whatever works for you, and in the amount of time that you have, and what you want to accomplish in the week. You can't go by other people's standards and rules. If a rule works for somebody, that's good, but you don't have to necessarily stick to that. I tend to think for my own self of what works for me, and what I like to do, and what my goals are for the week, and that kind of thing. So anyway, we had a little bit of a conversation going. I also said that I'm not bothered by confetti or back stitching. To me, it's all cross stitch, whether I'm doing quarter stitches, half stitches, back stitches, what's called confetti. I call them freckles, or just stitches. It's all cross stitch, and I feel so privileged to be able to sit down and work on my hobby and create beautiful things that I'm not going to complain about having to fill in, you know, colors that are freckled through a picture that are adding detail or outlining. I think that back stitching is like oxygen. It just breathes life into the pieces. With the full coverage, the Heaven and Earth, they don't have a lot of back stitching because there's so much detail in it. They don't need the back stitching to make that stand out. But for example, my kitchen pictures, I wish I would have taken a picture of them before the back stitching was completed, because the black back stitching just brought everything to life on that one. It just made it that much more pretty. So I don't really complain about having to do back stitches, even if it is a large amount of it. I just work it as it's a stitch, and I'm cross stitching, and I'm happy to be doing that. So yeah, so I'm going to be I work on Monday, and then I'm off for the rest of the week. So I'm going to be doing, if I can, I'm going to do all my errands on the way home from work on Monday, including getting my groceries. I need to go to the bank, the drugstore, mail some parcels for the 250 subscriber winner. And I'm also going to be spreading some Stitchy kindness with Stitchy Bendy Michelle. Her daughter Rose is going to get some Stitchy kindness, and I'm going to ask her to share it with her mom. I've been watching Michelle for the last little while. I started watching her videos at the end, and then I watched a couple of the more recent ones. She's got a really, really good setup. I dream about being that good at this, that I would be able to set up something like that. Very, very well organized, and the way she has a picture in a picture. It's really great. Anyway, so I've been watching her and trying to get caught up on her. they're good though. The earlier videos are really good. She's very knowledgeable, and yeah, she really enjoys the hobby, so that's good to see. I'm also going to be cleaning up and decluttering, sorting, and doing inventory on my remaining jewelry stock and supplies that I have for making jewelry. So that's, I mean, I booked the week off, but I thought this is the perfect time to do it. Nobody's home except for me. And I can, usually what I find when I'm decluttering or organizing a room, that space gets cleaned up, but then the outside of that space gets kind of messed up because I make a pile. This should be in the kitchen, this should be in the living room, this should go to the basement, whatever. So I'm going to have to juggle stuff around because I need a good space to be able to use the table to actually sort stuff on. So things are going to have to get off the table and moved out of the room, and then get my cupboards cleaned up and organized, and then I can start, you know, putting away the inventory. I want to know exactly what I have, and that will help me make a better decision about what I'm going to do with it. For now, I'm quite pleased to include some little extra jewelry goodies or stitching goodies in with the giveaways that I've been doing, and I really like that. It brings me joy that people are getting some unique, handmade jewelry pieces, and yeah, I enjoyed making the jewelry when I did it, but it's just I'm burnt out of it. I'm burnt out of selling it. I've had a couple people ask if I want to sell it on Instagram or something like that, and I don't, not at this time. I'm just don't want to have to deal with that, but I need to know what I have, and if I can get things organized, and then it'll be that much easier to pull stuff when I'm sending a goodie basket of, you know, spreading stitchy kindness like Michelle says, or doing a subscriber giveaway. If I have everything really organized, I can pull stuff easier than having to go through individual containers and stuff. So that is my plans for the week, is to get that completely done, that the whole thing. And I do have some jewelry in my basement, sorry. And then I have like all the gift boxes and stuff I have too. And I'm finding sending the parcels to the States is a bit of an expense to me, so I'm going to try and cut down. I might not put them all in gift boxes anymore because that makes them much more bulky. So your gift might be well packaged, but only in a plastic bag with a little explanation on what it is. The gift boxes are pretty, but I mean, I want to be able to send stuff out as inexpensively as I can. So cross stitch wise, I did my weekly ornament. It's a little snowman, and getting a little tired of the plastic canvas, I'm going to say. I don't know how many I've done now, 4 or 5, so I might switch to some smalls on Ada fabric. I'll see. And I had a new start, which was the Thomas Kinkade. This is for February 1st. This was the Thomas Kinkade Stillwater Bridge Vignette. I haven't got my pictures back from the framers yet, but this is the large one that this vignette came out of is Stillwater Bridge, and that one's still at the framers. So I've already stitched it, but it's going to end up looking a little bit different than the main one did, which is okay. So I started it on Friday the 1st. I got everything ready on Thursday, and I started on Friday. And I finished it on Saturday. I think it turned out well. I did add more stitches and more of the sparkly blending filament there. I'm not sure if you can see it kind of in the reflection of the water. And this was the other one that I had started and completed also. And this was one that I did more freehand. Well, both of these now I've done more freehand. But I actually like this one with less in it. Whoopsie. Then I like this one where I added more. So that was a good thing to learn, because this one does look a little bit cluttered up to me. I'm sure it'll be fine when it's hanging on the wall. All these dark stitches in here are quite outstanding, kind of distracting away from what's so pretty up in here, but it was good to learn. So whoopsie, that's the back. Yeah, I think it turned out okay. I'm going to frame these very simply myself. I did that winter scene one. This one I told you I had done, I think, in the fall. And it took me one day, start to finish. I started in the afternoon, I was finished by evening. And I got this little frame just at the Dollarama. These pictures are oval, but it fit pretty good in this little silver frame. And I hung this up in my living room. I did put the little cat one by my fireplace, and it matches really well with my fireplace finishing. So then Terry Lee and me are doing a Stitch in Time from HAED, Heaven and Earth Designs, and artwork by Amy Stewart. So she had started hers at the top corner. I started mine at the bottom corner, and we're having a race to the middle stitch, which is, I can't remember now, 180,000 something stitches. It's not the actual stitches, it's the number of squares actually, because stitches, because we're not doing the half stitches, we're doing full cross. The stitch count is going to be doubled, right? Because it's the square times 2. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I started mine at the bottom. I'll show you my board again. So I'm working on, whoopsie, I'm working on 2 pages at the same time because the bottom of it is just snow kind of going across the bottom of it. So I did pick out all the way, and I did not just feathering it into the second page, but actually going across the second page. So for me, the bottom left corner is page 73 and page 74. Excuse me. And I put mine on a Q-snap, and I put all the extra fabric into the project bag, like I showed you. You see how much I got done? Hardly anything. I don't even know if you can even see that. It's white on rice. The fabric is ivory. Very hard to see that on it, so I don't have the inch size of the fabric, but it's a 20 count, which, as you know, I'm having trouble with. So I tried using my visor magnifier. This is the hands-free mag eyes that I got from 123 Stitch. And because I have oily skin and I like to wear makeup, I put a Kleenex against my forehead and then I put this on. This is I think this is good for short stitching sessions, so it might be okay to use just for an evening or something like that. But if I'm stitching on a Saturday and I'm stitching for quite a while, I think the visor is pushing down. I mean, I try positioning it properly on my head, and I think it's pushing down on my glasses, and I'm not finding it very comfortable. Last week I showed you I did get a little clip-on magnifier for 123 Stitch also, and this is the Star Mag. So this one, they show it that's clipped onto a table on the back of it, and I tried clipping it onto the Q-snap and it doesn't fit. So then I had to make a decision whether I was going to blow my entire cross-stitch budget for February and buy one thing. And I did. And it is the Ottlite. So I've heard lots of people talking about these. So it's the Ottlite, and I got the one with the magnifier at Michael's. And this did not qualify for the 45% off coupon, so I paid full price for it. Didn't realize that till I got it up to the till. And I said, oh, I forgot my phone in my vehicle. Do you have the coupon? And she goes, you can't use the coupon on that. And took a second, and then I was like, just do it. I want to enjoy my stitching. And if I'm not enjoying it, there's no point in doing it. So on Wednesday, I didn't stitch at all on a stitch in time because I was, struggling to see in the dim light. And I mean, I have 2 lamps that are hooked up. Plus I have a track lighting near there too. And it's so hard to see on that 20 count. So I made the decision that I was going to get the Ottlite, and I'm glad I did. So it's very heavy. When I carried that box up to the till, I said it's surprisingly heavy for this little box, but it's because the base is very heavy on it. So it has the light attachment. So it is very bright. I'd say pretty close to sunlight bright. When I have this on, I feel like I'm not having a problem seeing it all. And it does have the magnifier with it. And you're probably wondering what the heck this is about. It's my invention. Someone needs to come up with this and sell them. Plastic bag is, of course, to keep Lucy from contributing, which he already did a little bit. Sorry, this is a toque. In Canada, I don't know whether they call them the same thing anywhere else, but in Canada we call these toques, so it's a winter woolen hat. And this had been in one of my son's Christmas stockings, and he left a couple of things here, so I took back the toque. So I cut a little hole in it at the top of the toque, and when this part was off, this little part here, I cut a hole in the toque and I pushed it up to there. So I've got this to cover it, and then I quickly realized that it was going to get cat hair on it, which I don't like to see on my black things. So I put the plastic bag on it to protect it from the cat hair. And the reason why I put this on here is because I'm using the wisdom that other people taught me and not had to make that mistake for myself, although I almost did. Both Pam and Stephanie and Amy from Amy Loves Toads talked about how their magnifiers were sitting in sunshine, and I think Pam said that hers actually burned a hole in her fabric, and for Amy I think it was at a Kleenex box or something like that, which I mean could very easily start a house fire. So I'm not even going to take that chance that if my curtains when I'm gone to work, if my curtains are cracked open a little bit and there is a little bit of sunlight coming in, I'm not even going to take that chance ever that this could be exposed to sunlight and start a fire at my house. So I used to study gemstones. I'm not a gemologist or anything like that, but I had a hobby with the gemstones. I still have lots of them and I like learning about them. And I had a quartz crystal that was actually sitting in the sun. And I was going to go upstairs to take a shower at this little quartz crystal, and the sun was shining directly to it. And I was sitting on the couch and I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and it was a little trendle of smoke coming up from a little piece of cardboard that was there. And I thought, oh my goodness, I mean, that would have lit a fire. If I would have gone upstairs and jumped in the shower like I intended, that would have been a house fire for sure. So I'm just not even going to take a chance. All my magnifiers will be kept, even these ones, like these ones, will be kept in some type of protective covering. So I did use the Ottlite then on Thursday. It took me a while to get it set up. It's actually easy. It's just challenging because the base is so heavy of it. But I did get that set up. I used it on Thursday and I used it yesterday during the day, and it is well worth the money. Even without the discounted coupon, I am very, very pleased that I got that. So and we talked about the other magnifiers. So plans for February. My plans for the week are a stitch in time, my weekly Christmas ornament. So I've got my February calendar, and if a stitch in time, if I'm having some difficulty with it, doing the 20 count in the evenings, I might work on something else. I put maybe this one, the country one. Maybe I'll do that one in the evening if I'm struggling with the stitch in time with the smaller count. And I'm really curious if in the summertime, when we have normal sunlight high up in the sky, if it's going to be easier to stitch on the lower count, higher count fabrics. And yeah, so this week I'm going to work on a stitch in time, doing the jewelry stuff, Christmas ornament, and maybe work on the cranberries one. And then for next week I have scheduled cranberries as a medium project, discovery as the extra large the following week, and then Siren and the Shipwreck on the last week of February. So that's my plans for the month. And one more thing, I'm going to be doing a new start on February 14th. I don't have a Valentine, but I'm going to do something that I love. So I'm going to be starting on the Long Dog Sampler, Death by Cross Stitch. I got 20 count again. Nope, 18 count, that's better. Yeah, good. 18 count, white Ada. I didn't want to use cream or ivory or gray or anything for this. I've seen people working on it on the white and it looks fantastic. So I got color number 824 from DMC. I went back and forth between 820 and 824 and I decided on 824. So I'll be starting on that one on Valentine's Day. And that is, I'll be starting at the bottom, of course, like I always do. I haven't looked at how many pages the pattern is. I copied it. I made the enlarged copies, but I haven't counted it all up. So, and then when I was in Michael's to get light, they had all their Valentine stuff. 40% off or 50% off, I can't remember. Anyway, so I got these little hearts. Mostly for these big ones here. I mean, you can cut a heart out of cardboard, but I thought these would be cute maybe to use as a back for some smalls, like to do some little heart ones. And then these ones are printed on them. There's one with polka dots and a border of red and more polka dots. And I might do a craft, like a decorating craft for February with hearts in my living room. I'll show you if I do get it done. I've just got a little bit of an idea. Don't want to spend a whole lot of money on, you know, different holidays and stuff. We did all that when the kids were young, and I feel like I actually overdid it. And I got kind of burned out from Halloween and St. Patrick's Day and the leprechauns and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, and I have been kind of minimalizing my house and trying to get rid of extra stuff because I jumped on that bandwagon. So I don't want to have a whole lot of stuff, but I have a star, a tree. I have to show you if I can't describe it in my living room, but I thought it might be cute if I stick some little red hearts on that, and then maybe some little shamrocks in March. So I'm coming up closer to 500 subscribers. So of course I want to do another giveaway. I want to hit 500 subscribers. I'm going to be mailing out the 250 one. I don't know if I said that yet. I'll be mailing that one on Monday. So I'm just going to show you, I have just a couple of winter kits. Like they have winter scenes on them. I mean, I have tons more in magazines and I have some patterns, but these are just the kits. So I'm trying to work through my kits. I would like to have only kits that I'm working on and nothing in a stash for kits. I don't know if that's possible. So this is, again, Candamar Designs, Thomas Kinkade. And this one is called Victorian Christmas 2. So it's a Victorian house. I don't have plans to start any of these right now because I am doing the owl. The owl is my winter scene. And I have the Christmas goose and then the woodland Santa and the Noel that will be Christmas. But once I finish the owl, I would like to start another one because I told you I'm doing my living room and trees and owls as my decorating. So this one is a Bucilla design snowy owl. So this will be one that I will start when I finish the other owl. And then I have another winter scene. Same kind of thing with the house. This one's got horses pulling a sled. And this one is a Dimensions kit by Carl Valent. And then I have another Dimensions kit, 3 bird watchers. And this is by Martha Edwards. It's just like the little kittens watching the birds at the window. I like the birds better. I don't like to stitch a whole lot of cat things. I have cats and I like cats, but I don't want to stitch a whole lot of cat things. I don't mind little ornaments and stuff like that. They're everywhere in my life already. I don't need to stitch a whole lot of them. I think I have that little kitten one, and I may have one more of just a white cat. And then I have this one here. It's a kit too. Designed by Sharon Sutherland. It's called Stately Deer. And this one I had thought of maybe destashing. And then there was a subscriber that asked me about doing a stitchy wall, and it kind of inspired me maybe to do a Northern Animals section. Possibly in my living room, because I'm going to have the owls there, and I'm going to have that lynx cat, and I would have these deer, and there's 2 that I'm looking at. 3. One is a little wolf, one is a moose with the northern lights above it, and one is a little fox in sunlight. So I've got those on my wish list, and so I think all those would be nice hung up together, and then I'll see what other winter animals I can bring into that sort of. I kind of got an area in mind in where my 2 walls meet in my living room that I could actually put on two of the different walls. So all right, so that's all I have for today. So hit the thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and let me know where you are in the world so I can put a flag in my map for you if there's room. I got more in the States. I got some more from other states besides just in the eastern section. It's good. The States is getting pretty full. I'm quite impressed. We need more Canadians too. Where are all the Canadian stitchers? All right, bye guys.